Hello and welcome to Bookish and Beverages. I'm Melissa and I pair a delicious beverage and summary recaps on fantasy book series so you can remember what happened without having to reread it. And today we'll be diving into The Crown of Gilded Bones by Jennifer L. Armentrout. And this is book number 3 in the Blood and Ash series. Content warning, there are full spoilers ahead. If you haven't read this book, pause, save, and come back later. Now let's go grab our drink. For our beverage today, we'll be making a Blue Lotus Tea. Here's what you'll need. In a tea strainer for loose leaf teas, add 1 teaspoon of Blue Lotus, 1 teaspoon of Chamomile, add 1 cup of boiling water, cover, and let it steep for 3 to 5 minutes. Once it's done steeping, strain the tea, add honey or sweetener to your taste, stir, and enjoy. Drinks in hand, let's dive into our book. We pick up right where book 2 ended, Queen Ilana of Atlantia taking off her crown and naming Poppy as the queen. And if you do need a refresher on book 1 or book 2, I'll have my summary recap videos linked below in the description. Poppy is standing around like, what? Me? No. Castile tries to go to her, but the Wolven now have crazy silver eyes and are fiercely protecting Poppy. Even Kieran is ready to bite Cass's head off. Turns out when Poppy had her whole badass vengeance moment in the temple, she severed all the Wolven's previous bonds, and now they answer to her through a new bond, the Primal Notum. Again, I know there's a pronunciation guide. Some of the words aren't on that guide, and no matter how many times I practice, I will probably still get them wrong, so just go with it. Finding out that Beckett, a young Wolven and Alistair's great-nephew, was the one that led Poppy to get ambushed, Cass orders for Alistair, a Wolven and the King and Queen's advisor, to be taken into custody. This guy is sus, and he isn't going down without a fight. Alistair orders the guards to protect the king and queen, Ilana and Valen, while the arrows come down on Kieran, Jasper, and Cass as they protect Poppy. The arrows cause them to turn stone-like, and Poppy loses her cool again in a fit of rage, thinking Cass might be dead. She goes full-on Storm from X-Men mode, causing chaos and destruction until she gets knocked out. Poppy wakes up in a crypt, chained by bones of the gods that negate any and all of her abilities, making her a mere mortal. Of all the people, Commander Jansen of the Royal Guard shows up in the crypt. He's actually an Atlantean of the Changeling line, and he has the ability to make his own supply of Polyjuice potion, and he was the one that shifted into Beckett, who was an unfortunate casualty. He shares that Cass, Kieran, and everyone is fine. They were only temporarily poisoned with a paralysis sleep-inducing toxin. Poppy promises him that she will be the one to end his cowardly life. Waking up again, and this time it's Alistair that shows up, giving his whole "I'm the savior and protector of Atlantia" complex spiel. He's like, I'm part of a secret brotherhood sworn to protect Atlantia at all costs from the violent, destructive, and monstrous children of the gods, aka deities. You have the same powers as King Malik, but only King Valen and Queen Ilana and I know of his abilities, meaning you're probably a descendant of Nyktos and carry the blood of King Malik. You're also part of a prophecy we were warned about before the gods went to sleep. So now you're a huge threat to Atlantia, and we're handing you over to the Ascended in hopes that you destroy them and yourself. By the way, I was supposed to help your parents to safety until they told me about your abilities and I knew who you descended from, so I let nature take its course when the Dark One led the Craven to them. And no, Castile is not the true Dark One. Poppy tells him to shove it where the sun don't shine, and that his plan is going to fail. After eating some food and drinking water laced with a sedative, Poppy wakes up outside in the wastelands as the Ascended show up. As an Ascended is checking the goods, aka making sure Poppy is indeed the maiden, a bolt goes straight through the Ascended's chest. The Wolven Castile and his father Valen have come to rescue Poppy, taking out the Ascended and masked secret brotherhood of dissenters. Kieran frees Poppy from the bone shackles, and just when she's about to go vengeful god mode, she reins herself in, remembering Alistair's words. She's got a point to prove. I am not a chaotic, violent entity incapable of controlling myself. I am in control. I am not a monster. She spots Jansen and stabs him, keeping her promise that she would end him. Confused by his last words, Poppy gets unexpectedly shot in the chest by a crossbow. Quickly losing blood, Castile performs the forbidden act of ascending Poppy to keep her from dying. To hell with the consequences. Floating in and out of consciousness through past memories and visions, Poppy finally wakes up and she is hungry. For blood, that is. Just when she's about to snack on Kieran, Castile pulls her away to feed from himself. With her bloodlust mostly satiated, she's overcome by a different hunger as the horny blood haze hits her and she bangs Cassian while Kieran keeps her from overfeeding. Posto, Poppy comes back into reality and remembers everything that had happened. Oh snap. Did she ascend? Nope. Somehow she didn't. Huzzah! After confessing their love for each other and banging it out one more time, Kieran comes back in the room so Poppy can spill the beans on all the deeds Alistair and Jansen shared with her. She may not have ascended into a vampire, but that doesn't mean she hasn't ascended into something else. Yet. She doesn't smell mortal to Cass and Kieran anymore, but more ancient and powerful. The ether, a primal magic of the gods, is waking up within her, and she might possibly be immortal now. Travel montage time as Poppy and crew pass through the Skotos Mountains, noticing how the magical mist now parts like the Red Sea for Poppy, and the golden trees of Eos are now blood trees. Arriving at the Temple of Sion, where Valen is waiting and Alistair is being held prisoner, they visit Valen first to prove Poppy isn't a vampire. Next, Alistair. Realizing Poppy is still alive, Alistair starts spewing his BS when Poppy slices his throat and Kieran, in his wolven form, howls out, calling the rest of the wolven to attack and devour Alistair. Good riddance. Riding into the city of Sion's Cove, Castile, Poppy, and their wolven entourage are greeted by happy and curious residents that start calling out Mia Lisa, my queen. They make it to Jasper's house and finally have some much needed alone time. Plus, Poppy gets to experience her first shower with a little extra TLC as she gets a little finger bang. After some much needed rest, Cass goes to meet with his parents while Kieran keeps watch over Poppy. On brand for Poppy, she 21 questions Kieran, confirms that they can mind speak through the primal Notum bond, and get ambushed by germs, faceless creatures. I think it's germs? Germs? Going with germs. Why not? And the unseen, an ancient radical brotherhood that Alistair was part of that isn't supposed to exist anymore. Learning more about the germs and their creation, Jasper ends up revealing that the otherworldly land of the gods, Elysium, actually lies beyond the mountains of Nyktos, and that an entrance can be found going through the underground tunnel system. After Poppy and Cass discuss the crown and the possibility of ruling Atlantia, Delano interrupts to ask Poppy to use her healing abilities on a little girl that was hit by a carriage. Almost too late, Poppy ends up bringing the girl back to life, and all the witnesses kneel in reverence as if she's a goddess. Castile, being a complete horn dog for her, takes her into another courtyard garden to bank her while the wolven keep watch. Great job, bro. After exploring the city with their wolven entourage, they crash a wolven wedding celebration where Poppy has fun dancing for the first time and gets kinky by going down on Cass after watching Kieran get some. The next day, Poppy formally meets her in-laws, and that's quite the meeting. Queen Ilana is basically like, "You must be Malik's daughter because you look just like him and you have way too much to have ever been mortal. And yes, we knew about the attack on your family, and I actually entombed Malik where the blood forest now exists, so I'm guessing he's dead, but how could he be your father? Did the Ascended find him and raise him?" Dun, dun, dun. One-on-one girl time, Poppy takes a walk with the queen, who bluntly tells her, "That's a nice plan to give the Ascended another chance to redeem themselves, but we're done with their BS and want retribution, so we're going to war very soon, like in a few days. So you need to make a decision about taking the crown ASAP, but make sure you make it for the right reasons, like for the love of Atlantia and its people. even though your experience has been so far shitty. Their walk and talk comes to an end when Vonetta shows up with a message. A posse of Ascended have shown up at Spessa's end, wanting an audience with Poppy, and her brother Ian is with them. Poppy, Cass, and a small group of wolves hightail it through the Skotos Mountains. They meet in the evening with Ian, who is confirmed and ascended, and he's like, "You do not want to start a war with us because we have a special weapon, revenants." And the king and queen want to meet up in a fortnight at Oak Ambler. See you there. Give your big bro a hug. During the world's most awkward hug, Ian whispers a secret message to Poppy. "I know the truth. Wake up, Nyktos." And only his guards can stop the blood crown. Poppy decides she's going to take the crown. Traveling back to Evamon, the Atlantean capital, they get ambushed and outnumbered by more unseen and germs. Poppy uses her godly powers to take them out, and of course, Cass is like, "Oh, hey girl. That's hot." Finally arriving at the palace, Poppy officially tells the king and queen, "I've come to claim my crown and kingdom." Right then and there, Poppy and Cass are crowned as the new rulers. The other crown also turns gilded, and all the torches in the temple spark up with silver-white flames. Next on the official royal agenda, Poppy and Cass meet with the Council of Elders to tell them about their plan to meet with the Blood Crown and travel to Elysium. They appoint Kieran as their advisor, and they get introduced to the infamous Willa Collins. Yes, that Willa Collins and her spicy diary. After the meeting, Willa nonchalantly tells Poppy, "Girl, I know you have more questions because I'm a seer and they're specifically about my diary." Wink, wink. "I got you, girl. Oh, and don't completely throw out that prophecy Alistair mentioned. You're not the great conspirator the unseen believe you to be." Phew. Then Willa officially announces Poppy and Cass as the king and queen of Atlantia, and the crowd goes wild. Poppy, Cass, Netta, Kieran, Emil, and Delano head out the next morning for Operation Wake Nyktos and borrow his guards, aka the Draken, basically dragon shifters. Arriving in Elysium, they fight off soldier skeletons and snakes. Poppy goes all X-Men Storm status on them. She wakes up a dragon named Nectus and meets with the king of gods himself, Nyktos. Nyktos invites only Poppy into his temple for a Wine Wednesday chit-chat, and he tells her, "I'm a primal, and you have primal blood making you even more powerful. The Revenants are a great evil and abomination. But don't worry, you always had the power in you. You've got this." Poppy and crew leave without the Drakens. Sigh. Plans in place, it's time to set out to Oak Ambler for the meeting with the Blood Crown. Poppy's group arrives by sea and sneaks into the castle through some forgotten tunnels and finds a caged cave cat that turns into a man when Poppy touches him. Hasn't she learned to stop touching things? They're not as stealthy and sneaky as they think they are. A strange chick appears, completely manhandling Delano, and Ian shows up, ushering them into the Great Hall to reunite with the other half of their group. Tawny is there, confirmed not ascended, but she's the least of their surprises. Queen Ileana struts in with Malik by her side, Castiel's brother. Looks like he's all cozy and on Team Ascended. Ileana is like, "Look, Poppy, I originally intended for you to marry Malik when you ascended, but Cass will do. I know about your ultimatum you came here to make, and that won't do. So here's what's going to happen. You'll claim Atlantia in my name, swear sovereignty to me, because if you want war, well, I have an army that can't be defeated. The Revenants. Watch and see." The strange chick is unalived right in front of everyone, and then comes back to life. What the fuck? Ileana continues, "By the way, you're my daughter, Poppy, because I'm not a vampire. Cora was never your mom, but actually one of my Revenant handmaidens, and I had to dispose of her after she betrayed me. My real name is Espeth." Yep, that one. "You see, Ilana poisoned me, Malik found me, and ascended me into a god because he was never a deity, but a god and the son of Nyktos. He snuck me out when all the ascended were being hunted down and promised to bring our baby boy and meet up to live our lives in peace. Years passed and the war was poppin', and I decided to join the join up with the Ascendant in hopes to find out about Malik and our son. Accepting that they were gone, I took over as queen, and the rest is history. Poppy is like, damn, that's shitty. And I'm sorry, but we're still not going to give in to your demands, so war it is. Off with his head! The queen orders Ian's death. Poppy loses her cool and attempts to attack her mom with her powers. Elspeth strikes back because she's a god too. Cass begs and pleads and offers himself for Elspeth to stop as she's slowly killing Poppy. Poppy wakes up in the forest outside the city, remembering the events of the meeting gone terribly wrong. She goes crazy X-Men storm mode, attacking the Rise in Innocence until the Revenant chick shows up, aiming a Shadowstone tipped arrow at Poppy. Don't you dare kill the Innocents. Good luck getting your man back, but if you do try, bring the fire of the gods. Bye. Traveling back to Atlantia, Poppy heals Tawny, who Elspeth let go with them as a sign of goodwill, but she doesn't seem to be getting better. Poppy has an epiphany, remembering the silvery blonde-haired woman that kept popping in her visions, dreams, and whispered the same, "You have always had the power in you," line as Nyktos did when she was dying. She must be Nyktos's mysterious consort, and therefore her grandmother, also meaning that Poppy is a god and she can summon the Drakens herself. Huzzah! It's time to slay Queen! Arriving at the palace in Atlantia, Poppy storms straight in to meet with Ilana. It would have been super helpful if you had told us the truth about Elspeth from the beginning. Now she has both of your sons because you had her son killed. Malik lied to you. He's a god and is one of Nyktos' son. By the way, Elspeth and Malik are my parents. So now I'm going to need you to watch over my friend Tawny while I go summon the Draken and plan another meeting with the Blood Crown to get my man back and finish what you started. Good job, Poppy, for standing up for yourself and telling her. Anyways, Poppy and Kieran adventure back to Elysium and find Nyktos the Draken in his mortal form. And he's like, we help you, you help us find your father. And no, not Malik. He's lost to us and is not your father, but his twin brother, Iris, and also find my daughter Jadis. Poppy asks if Iris can shift forms. Why, yes, he can. He was fond of taking the shape of a large gray cat. Could that be the one that they saw caged, perhaps? Poppy officially summons the Draken and heads out. Days later, and back in the forest outside Oak Ambler, King Jalara, a revenant, and a few royal knights meet with Poppy and her crew. In a dramatic turn of events, Poppy beheads the Blood King, destroys the royal knights with her godly abilities, and shows off her new secret weapon, the Draken. She tells the Revenant to deliver Elspeth a message. Give her King Jalara's head. Let her know I have his crown, and it's mine. I am coming for her, and I know where Malik is, and yes, he lives. If she touches or kills Castile, I will destroy her cities and kill her slowly. This is war. Okay, thanks, bye. And that basically concludes the summary for The Crown of Gilded Bones. Thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for more summary recaps on your favorite fantasy series. If you enjoyed this one, please be sure to like, subscribe, and share with your fellow book lovers. And if you have any requests on fantasy series you'd like summary recaps on, just drop it into the comments below. And thank you, thank you, thank you.